Hopefully Ike remembers to come over here because he's handing me that. Put your phones out of you.
Good evening, everybody. We're going to call the order of the Yalmouth Village Council meeting, May 5th, 2025, or May 19th to order. Everybody please rise to the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic Roll call.
Feldman.
Present.
Glasser.
Present.
Miller.
Present.
Schneider.
Present. Present.
Stuffler. Present. Dyke.
Present. Approval of the agenda. Do we have any adjustments or deletions to the agenda? If not, I would like to move agenda item number 7, the contract discussion, from item 7 to item number 1 to keep everybody having to sit through everything for the round. If that's okay with everybody, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented with that change.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Councilmember Feldman, supported by Councilmember Schneider to approve the agenda with the aforementioned change. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion unanimously passes. Communications, police officer award presentation. Chief.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the Yalmouth Police Department, I'd like to welcome you all tonight. We are grateful to have you here as we take a few moments to recognize the hard work, dedication, and the achievements of the officers being honored this evening. So if I call your name, you gentlemen, please step forward. From the Yalmouth Police Department, Detective Scott Isaacson. If you'd be so kind to share that for me. Sergeant Kevin Kowalik. Officer Mike Retzler. Officer David Chris, who can't be here this evening, closing on his new home. Officer Leo Hager, retired. Officer Tom Latta. Officer Mike Hoda Kodakowski. Sergeant David Rapchis. From the Findlay City Police Department, Detective Greg Hatfield, who is out of town this evening. Officer Mike Siegel. From the Driving Police Department, Sergeant Adam Chestnut. From the Lapeer County Sheriff's Department, Lieutenant Andy Angster. And Detective Hunter Salisbury and guest. And then from the Lapeer County Prosecutor's Office, Investigator Craig Gormley. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it tonight. A little background for everyone. On November 5th of last year, at approximately 8:32 in the morning, the Yalmouth Police Department was dispatched to 3863 Van Dyke, Crims Unlimited in Yalmouth Township, for an active shooter. A 32-year-old recently terminated employee entered the business armed with a stolen handgun. He calmly walked through the common area, approached his boss, and shot him once in the upper torso. The suspect then calmly walked out of the business, got into his vehicle, and fled northbound. There were over 90 911 calls that came in from that location regarding the shooting. Almond Sergeant Repchis, Officer Latta, Officer Kodakowski, Officer Retzler, and Sergeant Chestnut from Dryden arrived on scene within a minute. They located the 30-year-old victim laying on the ground with some signs of life. Officers on scene immediately began life-saving measures, including CPR, and attempted to control and stop the bleeding using a gunshot trauma kit. Officers performed a protective sweep of a large factory, making the scene safe and checking for additional victims. The victim was transported by EMS to a local hospital, but unfortunately did not survive his injuries. Responding to the area, Inlake Detective Hatfield located the suspect in the area in his vehicle. Detective Hatfield began following the suspect on the interstate and initiated a pursuit once his backup arrived. The pursuit continued through Dryden Township with multiple police jurisdictions involved. The suspect's speed exceeded 100 miles an hour while fleeing from the police. The pursuit eventually terminated with the suspect stopping on a dirt road in Metamora Township. The armed suspect exited his vehicle, resisted arrest, and shots were fired by the police, striking the suspect multiple times. Officers on scene immediately began life-saving measures on the suspect. The following officers effected the arrest of the suspect: Imlay's Detective Hatfield, Officer Siegel, Lapeer County Sheriff's Department Detective Salisbury, and Lieutenant Engster. Detective Hatfield and Officer Siegel recovered a loaded handgun possessed by the suspect. It was later determined that that handgun was a weapon used to commit the homicide. The suspect was then transported to the hospital and survived his injuries. Almont's Detective Isaacson conducted the investigation into this homicide, along with Lapeer County Prosecutor's Investigator Craig Gormley. Numerous search warrants were written and executed. Over 50 witnesses were interviewed. The suspect was eventually charged with 9 felonies, including homicide, murder in the first degree. This incident is still currently working its way through the court system. This type of call for service is every law enforcement officer's worst nightmare. Almont Police and Dryden Police worked as a team to save the victim's life. They also made the scene safe for EMS, began to locate and separate over 50 witnesses, and secured the scene to preserve evidence. Imlay City and Lapeer County Sheriff's Department quickly responded to the area, locating the suspect, displayed calm courage in arresting an armed suspect that had just committed a homicide. The quality of police work, teamwork, and professionalism exhibited during this incident brings great credit to all the personnel involved, their respective departments, and the citizens they serve. And it's for these actions I'm proud to award these officers with the Meritorious Police Service Award. Somebody wants to.
I would like to recognize Logan's father, Bill, and George Mansler, a good friend of the family. I can say a couple things. First, thank you, everybody. I have both ends, parent and a business owner. On the parent side, there was nothing anybody can do. You guys could not save him. This guy came in. On the business side, unbelievable reaction time, amazing training. These guys got to the scene. They were helping out. I mean, it was a blur to me, but I want everyone to know that day I was forced into the fight. These men and women choose to be in the fight every day. And I cannot respect and love you guys more for what you do. And everybody in this community, I mean, as a business owner, I don't live here, but to understand that these guys and ladies reacted so fast, the training, I mean, this is something you don't ever expect in Almont, Michigan. And unbelievable. And then after the fact, I mean, think about it. I just lost my son. He bled in my arms. And then poor Detective Scott had to come in and ask questions. And these guys, the professionalism was unbelievable. Be able to take and find out facts, yet still the personal side of myself, the people that are involved. Unbelievable job. And I just want to say, this is just, I mean, you guys should be, everybody in here, happy you've got this group of people. And thank you. My life has changed forever. But I feel the love from everybody that's standing up there, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, officers.
Moving on to consent agenda, meeting minutes, May 5th, 2026.
I think there were several corrections, but the one that I think was most important and is still present in the most recent draft of the minutes is the final sentence under closed session. It says to consider property acquisition and police contract with Elmont Township. That's not correct. It wasn't what we went into closed session for. Isn't what we actually discussed. It was to discuss potential purpose of real estate or real property, and that's it. There was no discussion of police contract in closed session.
Anybody else on minutes? The general fund, major street fund, local street fund, park recreation fund, downtown development authority fund, sewer fund, water fund, equipment fund, payroll report, or payroll report, water report, DPW activity report. Wastewater treatment plant report.
I just had one comment to make on the wastewater treatment plant report. As it was noted, we were 99% full on our equalization basins, but did not have a sanitary sewer overflow, which is remarkable given the weather that we experienced. Dozens of wastewater treatment plants around the state experienced sanitary sewer overflows. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that our system worked as intended, and the significant upgrades that we had to take those many years ago really do make a difference when we experience weather like this.
And to the staff for continued being able to get it back down within 6 days with continued rain over those days, so. Anybody else on?
Just that the infiltration remediation that we've been doing for the last, 3-4 years now? I mean, that would have been another million.
Sewer lining
Yes,
project.
yes, yep, yep.
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
Could have been over.
Anybody else? Police report. Clerk treasurer report. Financial reports. SRO report. Construction Code Authority report. Being none, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support. Motion by President Pro Tem Stoeffler, supported by Councilmember Schneider to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion passes unanimously. Now is the time for public comment for any agenda item. Do we have any public comment tonight on any agenda item?
Good evening. I'd just like to say, hi, Tim. First time I've seen you in a long time. Anyways,
Could you state your name and residence, please?
Pardon, sir?
Could you state your name and residence?
Yeah, Philip Sardo, SARDO, 444 Elmont Avenue.
Thank you.
I've been a village resident for over 25 years. I heard about our police department situation with the township. I was at a township meeting, the last one, and the gentleman sitting in this guy's spot right over here, he was pretty adamant he wanted the Lapeer County Sheriff. You could tell he was just that way. I love my police department, 24 hours. I have no problems. As a village resident, I pay township and village taxes. I asked the gentleman in the township if is my taxes going to get double dipped? He says no, but if it goes into the general fund, it will be. So, I could add and subtract, but I was just kind of curious. There's money, Lisa McLean has money. Okay, she has a certain amount of money. She can give to a lot of areas in this, and all we have to do is apply for it. I was just wondering if anybody had tested any of that yet. And there's money out there, but how to get it and what type of situation to do, I'm not smart on that. I wouldn't know. You people have a lot more education on that than I do. But I would just like to say that we need to keep our police department no matter what, Tim, no matter what. I'm willing to pay more taxes, but I'm quite sure there's a lot of people out there that's not. To me, taxes are just part of the system. I mean, this is how we pay for a lot of what we do. And people want to keep cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. You can only cut so much. And people don't realize, a lot of people out here in this world, they think they want a free lunch, and there is no free lunch. You got to pay for whatever you're going to get. So I just wanted to let people know, that there's money. McLean has it. We should apply for it. I would just say that. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it tonight. Anybody else with public comment tonight on agenda items only?
Hi there, Rick Dodge.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Doing well.
I just wanted to ask for approval of our offer that was made by the township. I know that's on your agenda tonight. Look forward to continuing to work with Elmont Police Department. That's what we all wanted from the start. I know things got kind of out of hand and so on, but I think we can move forward with what we have in front of us. So thanks for all your, working back and forth.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other public comment tonight on agenda items only? Being none, we'll move on to agenda item number 1. We moved up the police contract talk to agenda item number 1. So just to summarize, the village committee and the township committee met in early March. We gave them some statistics and, an offer of 900,000. They, what's that?
950.
950, sorry. They at that time decided, that they wanted to explore other options. The village became aware of that through back channels, not directly from the township originally. Once we found that out, we did ask the township, and whenever, if they received a price from the sheriff, if we could sit down and discuss matching that. They were courteous enough to do that. So we didn't hear anything for 5 weeks. After they got their general information from the sheriff, we sat down. We, as a committee, decided that trying to provide part-time coverage at the sheriff price was not in our wheelhouse, but they did counter offer our 950 at the sheriff price of 570, I believe it was.
510.
510. At that point, we countered at 850, and then they countered at 690, I believe it was.
At 620.
Was it, what was it?
I'm sorry, I
I believe it was 690. We countered at 670, they countered at 720, then we countered.
No, it was, okay, so it was 950 to 510, and then our counteroffer was 800,000.
That's
And-
what I said.
And then from there, their offer in the 600s, our next counteroffer was 770.
That's what I just said.
No, you said 570.
Oh, sorry. 770. My apologies. After we countered at 770, they came up to 720. We countered at 750. And then at their meeting last night, they countered to meet. So at 720 and 750, the halfway point is 735, which was kind of a $15,000 swing each way. So they voted unanimously last night to up their offer to 735,000. So now the ball is in our court to discuss and make a decision. So I'll entertain council questions or comments before we swing a motion. So does anybody on council have questions, comments, or?
So a couple things. It's not just an offer of 735. It's the other details that have been continuously discussed. Both parties seem pretty consistent on the fact that it's going to be a 3-year contract. First year 735, 3% increases annually for the next 2 years, using the existing contract right now as a base. So same terms and provisions as our existing contract, with the exception of the fact that it's going to be 3 year instead of 1 year, but 3% increases annually for the next 2 years. So that's at a minimum. There was also a request by Trustee Chris last night indicating that they would like to see quarterly financial reporting. I mean, and it's publicly available information anyways, but they would like to see, I believe as Trustee Chris presented it in their purview of what would be best is if, for example, the township's trustee could sit down with our township's treasurer could sit down with our treasurer and go over quarterly financial reporting. Where is the money going? From their perspective, it's an over $2 million deal over the 3 years. So they'd like to know where the money's going on a quarterly basis. This is all public information anyways. I see no issue for that whatsoever. So, and the other issue was that Trustee Chris also said that he would like us to look into potential grant writing opportunities. He volunteered himself to participate in potential grant writing opportunities for next year and asked that the village also appoint a village council member to join him in that effort. So those were at a minimum the 3 things that came before them yesterday. As a result of that, anybody else have any other comments or questions so far?
Really?
So 3 years, 3% year over year. We don't have a what if inflation's 10% in there.
No, I mean, and that would be non-typical for contract negotiation of it being
Non-typical for governmental contract.
sure
Very typical for business contract. Right?
Those tend to have COLA
have
and
dozens of them today.
Mhm.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Just so that we realize that if gas stays at $5, $6, $7, $8 a gallon, and the cost of oil goes through the roof for maintenance, a car goes from $50,000 governmental price to $150,000 governmental price over the next couple of years, we're locked in a contract at 3%.
Anybody else in council?
I guess I wanted to make a quick comment. First of all, I'd like to thank the village negotiating committee for working long, hard hours, along with the township to try to strike a fair deal. I'm glad that it seems the township came together unanimously and voted for something they were in favor of. I hope tonight that we can also come together for the entire Elmont community and put the residents first and continue the police coverage for all of Elmont.
There's no other questions or comments from council. I do want to just address a couple of things, a little bit of correction and facts for the records, because there's been a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding. Despite our attempts to try to clear the air and clarify in a couple of those things, there was a few items that I wanted to address just so it's clear for the public, and it would also address the Mr. Sardo's question as well. The township does provide funding to the village of Elmont for its police services through a special assessment district. The special assessment district does not encompass village residents, so you are not double taxed. You are taxed as a village resident, but the township portion of your taxes is not inclusive of that special assessment. So the special assessment does tax township residents who are not village residents, so you are not double taxed, and that is its own fund. It does not go into the general fund. They are segregated funds, so you're not double taxed. I do just want to clarify that. Nobody is double taxed in that. The fact that you pay both village and township taxes in its own terms is a different way that you could look at things, but this is not one of those situations where you are paying for village police services on village taxes and paying for it on your township taxes. They are separate.
I understand that, sir. I just wanted to, excuse me, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, I mean, the township has like 7,000 people in it. Okay?
8,900.
We have what, a little under 3,000?
There is a disparity.
You see where I'm coming from? Police protection is done by population, more or less. I mean, if you want to put it in that. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, the township is, I feel like I'm being like a redheaded stepchild from the township, because they look at us like we're just a money bag for them. I mean, the village owns the police department and the township owns the fire department. I mean, maybe we need a charter or become a city or something to that effect, because it's to the point now, because the only reason why I pay township taxes is because I get to vote on township issues. That's the only reason. There's no other reason why I have to pay township taxes. And that's it. They don't vote on village issues, but we can vote on their issues. And that's the only reason why I'm taxed. And I understand what you're saying, but what gets me is, like I said, the township has 7,000 people plus. We have a little under 3. I mean, when you look at the cost, the township should be bearing their fair share, in my opinion. I'm sorry,
It's all right. We share the same opinion that we wanted an increase in funding. That's why, even at the current offer by the township of $735,000, that is a near double jump from 2 years ago. It is a significant increase of us demanding that they pay more of a fair share and that we close that disparity gap a good bit.
do they realize that? That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm certain.
I brought that to their attention when we had that meeting last week.
Okay. Public comment's over.
I'm certain they are aware of it, but they have a duty to their citizens just like we do. They're held accountable for the decisions that they make as well. So, but to clarify some of the other misinformation, again, the SRO has been a very, very hot topic, and the functions of how that works and funding of how that works keeps being misstated, despite our attempts to correct it. So it's even been said recently that the sheriff, for example, pays for the SRO. That is not true. The SRO is not paid for by the sheriff. It is paid for. Sir, please. It's paid for by a county millage. The county millage provides $110,000 towards the cost of the officer. The village actually has to pay $175,550 for that officer, which we front, and then later at the end of the year, we are reimbursed $110,000. That does not come from the sheriff. It's not the sheriff's money. It's not the sheriff's choice. It is part of a public safety millage, which is countywide. And you know, it's funding granted for general law enforcement purposes. So there is still a net cost that the village absorbs of $65,550 for the cost of the SRO. And you know, that was one of the main concerns, is even the sheriff has admitted with the sheriff's contract of what would have been provided, what would be provided in that situation. Even the sheriff has admitted in his own correspondence with the township, there would definitely still be some gaps, and that would only be if they were actually able to get the discount, and if he would be able to hire the officers necessary, the deputies necessary to actually fulfill those duties. So it's just to correct it from a factual matter. You know, the sheriff doesn't pay for the SRO. In our village revenue and expenditure report, which is public information that's available on our website, shows, you know, $0 being budgeted and received for the school officer reimbursement line. Another issue is that it was previously mentioned that there is no township dedicated officer and we only schedule one officer at a time. That is absolutely untrue. At all times, unquestionably, there are a minimum of 2 officers on duty, most times 3. There are always 2 officers on duty 100% of the time. Chief, would you like to clarify as to whether or not there are more than 1 officer on duty at a time?
There is.
Right. I just wanted to clarify. For example, even this weekend, I know, for example, we had 3 officers on duty at a given point because of the overlap. So we always have, at a minimum, 1 officer patrolling the village, 1 officer patrolling the township, unless they're called to a different direction or a different location for a service call. Is that correct?
They're not assigned to individuals. They just
Patrol, correct.
They patrol everything.
Right. But that is how we provide 24/7 coverage, right? So just so that we're at least on the same page as to how that portion actually works. There's never 1. There was a lot of discussion about our previous spend rate and where we were at before. Personally, I think taking, you know, incomplete calculations from numbers we didn't even have completed yet is a bit of pseudo math. But the real reason that the fiscal year for 25-26 actuals were below our total $1.4 million budget is that the village ran with full-time officer vacancies for much of the year. So full-time salaries through April 30th were only at 61% of what we had budgeted for it. The structural underspend is driven by the vacancy. You know, other line items were over budget significantly. Part-time salaries were at 255% of our budget. Overtime was at 146% of our budget. Technology was at 142%, and general maintenance was at 286%. These are the lines that show what happens when we can't have our full-time positions actually filled, and that now that they are fulfilled, those line items would go down and our full-time costs would go up, which is what we had promised during last year's negotiation. We would get to a fully staffed department, which would increase costs in the immediate, but actually lower costs over time, because with part-time officers, we see a constant increase. Their part-time officers are not here for a long time, which means we have constant new equipment costs, training costs, liability insurance costs. It is more costly in the long run for us. but the village's fiscal year of 26-27 budget rebuilds to full staffing completely. So our negotiation this year, just for clarity, shouldn't be about last year's incomplete schedule. The negotiation and a decision that we're making as to what numbers we're willing to accept and that they're willing to offer should be based off of the $1.65 million budget that we've all discussed and reviewed in our budget workshop, which is going to be for our full staff, all of our full-time officers now that they're hired and now that that's completed. There's been a lot of back and forth about discussion of percentages. Councilmember Feldman, I know you asked last meeting, should we be discussing it in percentages? And I know I've even commented saying that feels like we're playing moving goalposts constantly because we talked about percentages last year quite a bit, and we ended up settling on based on a conversation of percentages of use. There was a lot of discussion of wanting tracking and the tracking so that we could discuss percentages. And then this year it was, well, I don't care how much percentages we use. They're always wearing a badge. They're always doing the work. And then most recent meetings, we're back to discussing percentages again. It's a bit frustrating, but the percentages, let's look at the actual Clemens report, because we have 11 months of data now. That's been fully tracked as requested, and we kept that promise and did that tracking. So one of the comments that was made was that it's as 50-50, it's as close as we're going to get for the minutes. Honestly, that's a cherry-picked metric with a cherry-picked time frame, so it makes it into pseudo math. But there's a lot of different ways that you can look at it. The single metric that's most favorable to the township, total minutes, was what was mentioned, and it was mentioned from a position of extending that time frame over 4 years, not the last 11 months where we've actually been doing the tracking. But 11 months of Clemens data from June 2025 through April 2026 provides the most current and relevant period. And so if we look at that, the township shares by all those metrics, dispatch calls was 59.6 for the township. Patrol minutes, 72.4. Total minutes, which this was the metric that was used by the township trustees, 53%. Even that metric's over 50%. Total minutes for the last 4 consecutive months alone were over 60%. And field operations, and this is a good one that we like to look at because it isolates the active service minutes, which is 69.4 minutes. At no point is any metric 50% or lower from the township services cost. Hence, why our negotiation and why our discussion looks for the township to pay for more than 50% of our annual budget. They are larger, they have more square miles, it is harder on our vehicles to cover those miles, they have a larger population, they have more people, they use more services. It's why our position is that they should be paying more than 50%. Another thing to address was that the last year that the village refused to provide the SRO if the contract was not renewed, and that we would not provide, a contract extension. Those things, while true, leaves out a lot of other fact and clarification that need to be corrected. For one, we cannot continue to provide SRO services if we do not renew the contract. Officer Retzler is a village police officer. The village police officers only have a right to operate within their jurisdiction. Their jurisdiction is the village of Elmont unless contracted otherwise. Having a contract with the township allows them to go outside of the jurisdiction of just the village and go into the township as well. If there is no contract with the township for police services, we cannot and will not subject our officer to potentially losing his license, litigation against him, losing his governmental immunity, not to mention lots of other things that would happen to his MPOL's license if we send him to go start policing in places he has no right to be. We cannot and will not provide that. As far as a 6-month transition or any extension of the ongoing contract, that is the very underlying issue here. If we were to extend the contract beyond this point, at what price would we do that? We already can't agree on what that price would be. And if we do, and we allow it to continue at the current contract prices, that is us again agreeing to take less than what we believe our village residents should be forced to pay. It's either we can make a deal or we can't. Extending that out further is really just driving home the problem that we're trying to avoid in the first place. So it just needs a little bit of correction as to, it's true that we said that we wouldn't send our officer into the schools if we don't have a contract, because we can't. We also won't extend a contract that we can't reach an appropriate number on, because it would be the wrong thing to do for our residents. And we have to consider our constituents, because that's what we were elected to do. So it's not to do it as a slight to the township or to anyone that contracts with us. It's to do what we were elected to do, which is represent our constituents to the best of our ability. So I just want to clarify a couple of those things. I'll make it quick. There's only a couple other ones here. The no 3-year contract last year and only 1 year. That is correct. And we were also very clear as to why, which is what I mentioned earlier. We were in a transition process with the new chief and getting to full-time staffing. We could not anticipate what the costs would be once we got to full-time staffing. We have an excellent force. We've given out numerous awards this year alone for the excellent service of our officers. That comes with a cost. We could not anticipate what that cost would be. And we said, once we got fully staffed, we would then be willing to provide a 3-year contract at a minimum, which we did do. We are offering a 3-year contract now that we know what those costs are. We couldn't have anticipated what those costs would be until the full staffing does happen. Health insurance alone is an unpredictable cost. We don't know how many family members we will have to cover before we cover the individuals. I think that that's sufficient for what we needed to cover for tonight, for just clarification of the record. All of that aside, it is my opinion that both parties, despite all the vitriol, despite all the rhetoric, despite all the attention from the public, and rightfully so that there's attention from the public, there has been a lot of misinformation, both for people who are pro keeping the Elmont Police Department serving the township, and for those who are in favor of going for the Sheriff's Department. Despite all that, I would say that both the township and the village have done, a good job for their constituents in moving hundreds of thousands of dollars in the right direction. While the number of $735,000 is lower than what I would like to see the village residents receiving, I do think that, again, it is for the benefit of the community. It's for the benefit of the schools. That it is still a massive step in the right direction for village residents as far as what costs are being covered by the township. I think it does a lot for our officers and their morale to know that they have some job security for the next 3 years at a minimum. And I think that, given that both parties moved several $100,000, I would make the motion that we accept the $735,000 offer from the township as presented.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Schneider, supported by President Pro Tem Stoeffler to approve the acceptance of the township's offer of police contracting at $735,000 with the stipulations of a 3% increase over the next 3 years.
And starting with our base contract.
And starting with our base contract language as it was presented last year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion unanimously passes.
Can we also address the potential appointing of a village council member to
Yes.
address grants?
First, I'll ask if there are any volunteers to participate in the grant project. If I don't have any volunteers, I would ask if Mr. Powell would be interested, because
I nominate Mr. Powell.
I second that. Mr. President,
yes,
we have already had at least one police officer volunteer to go to that class and be involved in that process. So if you would like to pass that duty on to a police officer or two, that would be perfectly fine, I think.
I don't. Not because I'm unwilling to. if they volunteer to go, that's fantastic, and I'm happy for them to go. I think that it is important that we have a representative of both boards
Yes.
collaboratively working
Yes.
together for the benefit of the community to do both. I think the idea of a Almont Village police officer doing so instead of a village council member not only sets the wrong tone, I also think puts that Almont police officer in a bit of a sticky situation in that type of scenario. I just think it would be better that we have a representative as our own counterpart.
Tried.
Well, I'm honored to have been nominated.
Just say yes.
I don't think I would have the time to give it the attention that it needs for this matter.
Perhaps we'd like to give council some time to think about their time commitments
It
and
was
willingness
worth
to
a
serve.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And can we have any assurance that it won't be an issue to provide the quarterly financial reporting to the township?
That's public information.
I know. I want to clarify that I get on the record that we say we will do it and we'll do so timely and it won't be an ongoing issue.
Do we have consensus from council that we have no issue with the township clerk or the township supervisor having discussions with treasurer, having discussions with our treasurer, clerk treasurer in regards to the financials?
It's reasonable.
Well, they sit a long way apart.
Are you guys good with that? Okay. And we will get back to you on the grant thing, because I believe that's a good thing and it's something we should do.
We could put it on the agenda for next meeting.
Yes, yep. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 2. The Canfield bond.
Yes, Mr. President, we are following the steps required to move forward with developing a route to fund our 2 big projects over the next calendar year, the DPW building construction and the St. Clair Street project, our match money we need to acquire for that. The first step is to bring on a law firm that specializes in bonding, and the process of going through bonding, I discussed with them the 2 projects, our anticipated budget, so they have prepared a resolution to set us up to put our notice of intent to bond for infrastructure, and I'll read you the quote out of the wording, furnishing and equipping, constructing, furnishing and equipment the Department of Public Works facility, and acquiring, constructing water and sewer road improvements. So that leaves us a wide berth to be able to use the proceeds of a bond towards each of these projects. That doesn't mean we are necessarily going to go out and bond for that volume, but we want to have the worst case scenario, $2.5 million. We do have some funding in place, and as we get further down the road, perhaps even at the point of receiving bids, then we decide how much we want to fund with cash on hand versus going out and acquiring a bond. The size of the bond and the duration of the bond are 2 different, very interestingly different animals. A smaller bond with a short term has a low issuance cost. A full-size, full $2.5 million bond with selling on the open public market has a more expensive issuing cost. So again, we want to leave all our options open. Miller Canfield is a firm that specializes in this. They have asked to be retained as our attorney to do this work, which is the purview of the council. And then we have a bond resolution in the packet to give the public notice that we intend to bond down the road.
Such a rinky-dink law firm, Miller Canfield. I mean, can't really do better than Miller Canfield.
So do we need a motion to retain and then a motion to declare?
The motion for the resolution.
Right. So
So
We
that's
need-
items 2
Yeah.
and 3. Yeah.
right. So it's a potential roll call vote for the resolution, but it's just right. Don't we roll call for resolutions?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
But for the
For the retaining of legal counsel.
legal counsel, just a majority vote.
Well, that's what I was asking, there's two motions.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just saying.
Okay.
Yep, the voting would be different.
So does anybody on council have any questions or
I
comments
do,
regarding this?
yeah, I
Okay.
do have some questions. So, I'll admit this caught me off guard, seeing this in the packet. I don't recall us having any discussions on going out to bond for either of these projects. So I think that was why this initially caught me by surprise. And so I did have some questions that maybe you can help answer, Dale. You have in your memo that we may not need to go out to bond, but will we spend $25,000 before we know that? The answer to that question? At what point will we know, and when are we spending that money?
That's a great question. So we'll finish our budget workshop and we will know how the revenues and expenditures will play out. If there's a deficit and we have to fund it in this next year's budget, after we know that number, we'll know what our fund balances will look like going forward for the next year. So at that point, we may decide, let's spend our road money, our road fund balance, our water and sewer fund balance on our match for the St. Clair Street project, which is roughly $1.3 million. Or we can leave that money sit there for other projects, as it has been, and we decide that we want to bond that 1.3 million based on the issuance costs and the ability for our revenues to pay for that over the long term. Water and sewer projects generally are slated at least 25 years of life. I wouldn't suggest that we take a 25-year bond, but we can. A DPW building could also be bonded at 20 years. It will call, right now we have general fund dollars in a fund balance that we could spend towards building that building. But again, rather than spend the majority of our fund balance, it likely behooves us to bond that cost and pay it off over 10 or 20 years, depending on the size of the interest and the favorable terms that we get for that bond. And we will also, if we move forward to the bond level, we will end up securing the services of a financial consultant that will lay out all those numbers for us so we can see the bottom line of each of those options. And again, decide if we want to spend the cash in our fund balance or if we want to bond for the projects.
So are we putting the cart before the horse and making a decision tonight to approve this before we have our budget workshop?
Another good question. But to apply and acquire a bond, you have to have a 45-day referendum period in which you publish, and people, companies, whatever, can come out and say, we don't think you should do that, we object for whatever reason, and convince you otherwise from doing the project. So the timeline is such that doing it now is, we're gaining 2 more weeks on the process towards funding the project. I can tell you, I had a conversation with a builder who builds the buildings like the DPW proposed structure all the time, and they said they would not suggest starting it this year. They would want to bid, or if it was them building it themselves, they would want to get things in order, bid it, and build it starting in the spring of next year. So time-wise, it isn't the cart before the horse, because we have to do this before we do anything else. We have to get the notice of intent to bond out there and get the public clock ticking. Does that answer your question?
I think it helps answer it for DPW, because that one doesn't seem like it is time sensitive, but our St. Clair project is a little bit more time sensitive. But if we are talking a month for us to have our budget workshop and get a better understanding of the numbers, if it's not an issue, me personally, and I'm only speaking for myself, would like to see the numbers. I mean, $25,000 is also a big number to me.
That's,
Are you talking about the potential legal fees?
Yes.
We're just,
Yeah.
just for clarification, in Miller Campfield's letter, they did put that it's $23,000, and that is based on time expended, which they don't invoice you to until they deliver the bond. So we do not, by agreeing to engage them, agree to pay them $25,000.
Right.
They'll actually overestimate what they put in there. They put in there $23,000, and it's also based on the amount of the bond. So should we drop the amount of the bond requested significantly, the amount of potential legal fees drop significantly, and again, it's based on time expended. So if we choose not to bond at all, we owe nothing. So it's merely engaging council in the ability to move forward should this council decide to, rather than further delay of that. I don't know the timeline well enough to understand if it would be harmful and how it would be harmful if we waited until after the budget hearing. I just want to clarify the way I read the engagement letter. And since I write them for a living, it's not agreed to pay $25,000.
Right.
I would call it a not to exceed number for the entire project.
So we can't say that either, because it's based off of the amount you go on for in the time expended. So it could be more, it could be less, it could be 0, it could be 50. We don't actually know, because they are not, it's not a flat fee. It's a time expended, and they like to base it upon the amount of the bond that you request is their language. That's what they're binding us to.
Do we have a time, when will this decision of bond or no bond, especially specifically on the St. Clair project, hold up the start of the project, which is supposed to kick off at the end of June, correct? Beginning of July, if we maintain the current timeline.
The current timeline would be fine. If we delayed, it would not impact it.
Okay.
But of course, I would say the conventional thinking is you want to get money, buy money when it's inexpensive, and at the moment, theoretically, it's inexpensive. There could be a tremendous swing in 30 or 60 days based on the world economy and those type of things. And that could even drive it down versus driving up the cost of a bond. But I would recommend, even before we finish our budgeting, that we would want to be prepared to bond, because we wouldn't want to spend all the cash on hand as an example, if we get good costs, good prices for installing water lines and paving, we have 2 or 3 other projects that we really would like to do, School Street as an example, with the favorable funding and economy of scale that we would get by doing so much work all at one time. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know if you asked for it, but again, if you want to wait 2 more weeks, it just puts up that window. It's 45 days. So it's, we're expecting to be out to bid for the St. Clair Street project, and that would be good. And Randy has done several bonds in the last few years, and I see she has her hand up, so.
My concern all along has been that the bond is not being talked about as a potential way of financing it, and looking at what Kim left in the financing that we needed. This should have been done 6 months ago. Intent to bond. We're not gonna have a bond sold before the fall. They do not sell in 2 or 3 months. We haven't even engaged a financial advisor to do the bond legwork that has to happen. So we're behind the 8 ball in that. I think that this doesn't tie you to anything, but starts the clock ticking so that when we need to do the other components, they can happen. Because Thomas wanted to do this 3 months ago, and we first reached out to him and get this resolution for intent to bond, but we were waiting for various reasons. So I really think this is important. Again, like Steve said, we do not have to move forward, but if you haven't done this component and gone through the public hearing part and the public notice, you're behind by 2 months right there, because it's 45 days once it reaches the paper. Then you have to have the public time, and you can't, your financial advisor can't even begin to start the process of looking at what's out in the market and preparing the perspective and all of that goes into it. So, and as far as I know, we don't even have a bond rating. So we have to go, if we were going to go out in the open market, we have to go for a bond rating, which is a whole nother component. There's different ways to bond. So that's what they will advise us to once they look at our financials. So anyways, that's my thoughts on it.
I'm not dissuaded by the language of the engagement letter, but to play devil's advocate, so what is our downside by engaging the legal counsel and publishing the notice now? What does it cost us to engage them as of this moment, since they can't actually do anything right now anyways? What is the downside? What is the cost if we do engage them at this moment and we do publish notice and we decide we don't want to bond anything? What is the downside? What does it cost to us?
The cost, the time that they spent to prepare this letter, which was.
You don't pay for preparation of engagement letters.
Well, but they did do the resolution for us. So the end result is and it was minimal amount of time it took them to prepare these documents. This is what they do all day, every day.
Sure.
Simple phone call, and the documents were back. Randy had an email exchange, so they knew where to send them, and they were here.
So if we choose not to engage them, we still owe them for the cost of the drafting of the resolution anyway?
Yes.
Okay. So the downside to us in engaging them now, if we choose not to move forward, the net difference cost to us is what, 0? It's what it sounds like you're saying. I want to make sure I'm not misrepresenting that.
Well, I didn't ask them exactly the number, but again, it would be minimal.
I was just hoping that I understood that more correctly, and I feel as though that answers our President Pro Tem's questions as to the cost of it too. If it is just causing delay, that could be problematic. It could be a deficit. If we choose to engage them and then choose not to move forward, it does sound like the net damage to us is incredibly small, if not 0. And the delay could be costly. So for that reason, like I said, I didn't see the problem with engaging the council. If we choose not to use them, we choose not to use them. If we choose to use them, posting the notice, getting that clock rolling, and engaging the right legal counsel, it seems like the intelligent forethought move to me. But I'm struggling to see the downside of it at the moment.
Well, there really isn't any downside. I agree there is probably a whole lot of risk on our part. I think the bigger thing that we just need to make sure that we're clear on is that we do have a standard procedure that we follow. We normally talk about this stuff like this, engaging before we vote on a resolution, followed up within a few minutes. If this attorney did want to do this for the last few months, then we had plenty of time, and we had a whole 0 agenda item the last meeting.
That's
We
right.
could have talked about this.
Agreed.
So I guess lesson learned, and I'm sure Randy, you haven't been through the ringer yet by us, but we do like to have an open discussion before the meeting, before we.
It should be open discussion before it's put on the agenda. as an
Yeah,
agenda.
Yes.
because some of us, maybe unfortunately for you, like to do a lot of research and get stuck in that, what can we learn and figure out before we get to the let's make a decision point. So I think that's the biggest thing. I was caught off guard too. I was like, I know I've missed the meeting here and there, so I thought, well, maybe I missed it. I don't remember having this discussion. But I don't disagree. It's pretty low risk. I think I wouldn't have read that letter the same way. I appreciate
It's
the not to exceed mindset of that, or not a not to exceed, but however they spend the money up to that point. So
I think the bigger issue is this project hasn't really gone into the first steps of even having an idea when you go out to bid, what is it going to cost us? So in the process of doing a project like this, it's 1.5 to 2 years to get to the point of construction beginning. And you have this grant out there that has a timeline on it that's quite a substantial grant, but some of the other work is missing. And I talked to Dale, and we have mentioned it in conversations with the council, that I don't think it's the best choice either to use all of our fund balance to pay for that grant. Now, Kim has a very good laid out plan that she's gone over with you, and it, like you said, it was 1.1 million that the village needed to match the grant. So, but we haven't gone out to bid and what you might add to it. So by giving that, without having a lot of detail for the Miller Canfield attorney, he has to do a very blanket intent to bond. I'm not, I've seen this multiple times. I've done 8 bonds with Poundwater. This is the same language that's a bullet point for that. So
It's just,
I
it's
was
a standard
comfortable.
blue stock letter for
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
yeah, so. But it's up to council how they want to proceed with the project and how they want to pay for it, so.
This just gives us the flexibility of options without further
Yeah.
delay.
Any other questions? So does council want to take action tonight, or do you want to table it for 2 weeks so to put it on the agenda next time?
I'd like to make the motion at least as a minimum to the Miller Canfield. If we want further delay on the resolution of intent, that's fine, but I'd make the motion that we engage the services of Miller Canfield.
Support that.
Motion by Councilmember Snyder, supported by Councilmember Miller to engage with Miller Canfield as our bond attorney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Does council have any preference on the letter of intent or the resolution authorizing notice of intent?
Seems like if we're gonna do one, we should do the other.
well, we need to get the clock started. It's 45 days, and then planning everything else. We're gonna come up to October, and then we're gonna say, well, elections are coming, so maybe we should wait for. Just gonna keep kicking the can down the road. At this point, we might as well move forward.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to move forward with resolution 20260504, intent to bond.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Feldman, supported by Councilmember Snyder for resolution as stated on the record. Roll call.
Feldman,
Aye.
Schneider,
Aye.
Glasser,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Powell,
Aye.
Steffler,
Aye.
Dyke.
Aye. Motion passes. Agenda item number 3, set public hearing for the 26-27 budget.
Well, as you know, one of the common processes that we go through annually is once the budget numbers are determined, we have to have a public hearing in which we explain to the public what our intent to tax, the rate we will tax at. And they're all tied together. Usually they're the same evening. We approve a budget. We hold the public hearing on the budget. The steps in their proper order. So we'd like to know when you would like to have this hearing to approve or to have the public hearing on our budget. Now, we can meet within the next 2 weeks to go over the budget, do a budget review, or meet a couple of times in the next 2 weeks. And then present that all at our next council meeting, if you're comfortable in getting together in the next 2 weeks to review the budget. We've already done the largest budget in our overall budget. It was the police. We reviewed it once. We intend to review it again, but it can be done in one night, I think, pretty comfortably. We've done that before. It's up to the council and their preference.
Kidding, it's not 18 hours notice, I was kidding. What's your fancy, folks? Can we try to get it in this month? I would love it if we could try to get it done by next week, so that way we still have, if council does have concerns, does want to go back to the drawing board on anything, there's still some time left in June to do so without the need of us scheduling additional special meetings. I'm fine with doing it one night. If anybody else wants to do more than one night, fine by me too, but
One night's usually sufficient. Or schedule one night, then if we need another.
that's why I want the first one next week. Maybe that's the only one we need. If we need more, we've got all of June.
Yep, I would agree.
So then we need a budget hearing so I could do truth and taxation notice. So if you want to do that, the first council meeting in June, it's June 1st. So it just gives us the rest of this week and next week.
Yep.
And because otherwise we're looking at June 17th, I think it is.
Second is our next meeting, right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So-
Why don't we schedule for our second meeting in June?
Yes,
Yeah,
agreed.
let's not do the first meeting in June. We may or may not have a signed contract by then on the town. There's usually some delays, and then our first full budget workshop, maybe we have some things we still want to adjust. Second meeting in June has been a pretty consistent thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the truth in lending one has to happen before that.
Truth and taxation.
Yes.
It has to happen. at
So
the
on
end
the
of
second.
That's the public hearing for the
Yes.
public. That's what you're setting tonight,
Mhm.
because that notice has to go in the paper.
Mhm.
And so the tax roll needs to go out around the 13th, so that it's it's a little tight timeline, the way council falls this time, is it the second, so then 14, is it the 16th or the
Yes, correct,
17th?
Yep.
Am I right? Okay, so we want to do the Tuesday, the 16th as the budget hearing, correct?
What day would you like the workshop? So we can start at 7 a.m.
I have a meeting at 7 a.m., sorry.
every day.
Yeah, didn't say what day, Pete.
I have some at 3 a.m. if you guys want to join me.
Just to get the ball rolling, how's Tuesday of next week? You folks seem to be able to show up on Tuesday evenings.
Tuesday's fine.
I'm good.
Tuesday of next week?
I don't know if I'll have all the numbers ready by Tuesday next week.
I think we.
No, we just have Wednesday, Thursday left.
Oh, that's true.
And then
Yeah.
Memorial Day on Monday.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a little.
I don't want to
too
work
soon.
my whole weekend that I'm gone camping, so, because I didn't.
We have most of the numbers in the budget already.
Yeah, all the other prep work, because I didn't expect just to keep council abreast of, the process of changing over the banks and all of that has been, labor intensive, but as of today, I have all the GL numbers changed in the beginning bank balance, so then there's some other transfers that need to be done to clean that up, but I wanted to get that complete, and then, so if we could do a little bit later next week, that would be great, unless they want to do Tuesdays. Can we do Tuesday, June 1st, to give us more time? Second, I'm sorry.
You have
June
a
1st is in my
No,
head.
that's council
It's a
meeting.
No, that's
Council.
a council meeting, number one. Number two, that pushes us into June, and then that eliminates the possibility of council having time to adjust if anything we don't like. So it's gotta be next week. If Tuesday it's not ready, would it be ready by Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, I would prefer a Thursday, but if it's Wednesday, that's fine.
Thursday's good.
We do have a park board meeting scheduled for Thursday. We could move it
Okay.
if that's,
Well,
If that works.
we're at, that's at 7, right?
Hmm?
Yep, your park board's at 7, correct?
yes.
Okay, is it all right with council if we met before 7 o'clock for the budget workshop? Is it gonna be possible?
Was it typically 3 hours?
It's,
The budget, I've seen it be an hour, I've seen it be 4 hours.
I can't
It's-
see it being an hour.
No, I don't think it'd be an hour, but I don't think it'd be more than 2. Personally.
If I may say, when I've done this over the last 10 years, I've always had everything ready and sent it out to council early so that you could review it and have all your questions. And I don't know what's been done in the past, but that would be my goal. And you know, my financial reports are a little simpler, so, but we do want to change in the different departments. We've talked about some of the uniform chart of the account, talked it with all of you that I wanted to consolidate to using some of those standard accounts and labeling a little differently. So that's why my hesitation was like, when is it going to be ready? Because that has to be done as well to the software moving forward. So,
I don't wanna hold it to an hour.
No, me
No.
either.
No.
We have one member who's not available for the 28th anyway, so we can move that. Yes.
Is everybody good next Thursday, 7 o'clock or 6:30?
Can we maybe start a little early?
I'm
Or
currently on
cannot?
the bubble, so I just, to be transparent, I may be out of the country the entire week, so
Okay.
like on the other side of the planet.
Can everybody else?
You can have Wi-Fi?
Can everybody-
Yeah, it'll be the middle of the night for me, so. Sure.
6:30 Thursday? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, 6:30
Feel free to
Thursday.
text questions you
I
have.
can't do it Wednesday because I got DDA.
Oh, I will.
is that when their DDA meeting is?
I've got DDA Wednesday.
The 26th.
We can't do Wednesday, yes, it's,
Right.
Wednesday's out, Tuesday's
Right,
out, we're down to Thursday, or
Or
we're waiting
Friday.
until June.
Thursday, 6:30? Okay. Budget workshop next Thursday at 6:30.
Now, that's a good point that you mentioned. We wouldn't have the DDA numbers until Wednesday night at the earliest, or is it Thursday they're having their workshop this week?
We talked last week. I don't know. I haven't been
I think
Remember, I put that in.
the 26th, so they're doing it, their meeting is Tuesday, the 26th, so that would be another reason why we couldn't.
Yeah, so we want to be able to have their numbers.
The DDA's meeting is always on Wednesdays. It's Wednesday every month, it's never on Tuesday, it's on Wednesday.
Okay, well, the email I got from their treasurer said he needed to have everything ready for his meeting on the 26th.
They're probably talking about their
All
financial
right.
subcommittee.
Yeah,
Their budget has to be passed by their entire board, which wouldn't be until Wednesday.
okay.
30 to 28, right?
Yes, I have a note from them saying, I have a note saying that they will have us the budget on the 22nd, which is Friday, this Friday. Okay.
Proposed budget that hasn't been passed by their board yet, I'm assuming, but their proposed budget, right?
Okay. So those numbers will be in our budget review, which would have made it difficult to enter and have it ready by
Okay,
Tuesday. Now we're on Thursday.
So recap, we have consensus on the budget here, the budget public hearing on the second council meeting in June, and our budget workshop next Thursday, 6:30 here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Next on the agenda, does anybody else have any other questions?
For the public hearing, I need a motion and a vote to do the public hearing. I'm sorry,
For June 16th.
for the public hearing was going to be on the 16th, correct?
Make a motion to set the date for June 16th, 2026 for public hearing for our budget approval.
Support?
Motion by Councilmember Feldman, supported by Councilmember Snyder to approve the public hearing for budget approval at our on Tuesday, June 16th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Agenda item number 4, homecoming special event permit fireworks.
Hi there. I'm here to ask if we could possibly get a special event. We're in the works we're trying to get fireworks for a homecoming festival, August 15th and the evening at 10 o'clock. And I was told to come and ask for a special event permit. Right, Dale? Paul was in contact with you and you said you didn't see a problem.
We had some email exchanges, you were on them, saying we would want to see the letter of approval from the township to use the park, the approval to use the Bell's parking, and the insurance or statement about who your fireworks company was. And then the council would hear those things and approve the date.
There is the ordinance that covers permitting fireworks displays, and it lists the items that are required. So we can get that to you so that you can put all that information together and apply for the permit.
Okay, that'll work. And
Sorry, go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
so I can pick that up at the office?
Sure, or I can email it to you.
No, my email, it's a long story, but I've been hacked and it no longer exists. So that's why I don't get anything in the email. I'll just stop by and pick up.
Okay.
Okay.
When she picks it up, the ordinance doesn't specify getting the permission of the property owner, which we do need, or the bells, or the so we would need to make sure that they realize that also.
The bells, I've already discussed with them.
We need a written
Confirmation.
from permission from the property owner, the approval from the township, because they have the property owner, and approval from the bells, written approval.
Okay, well, the bells isn't involved. We won't be using their parking lot.
So where are people parking?
Probably up and down the streets and that, not unless Jim allows them to use the parking lot. But in the past, there's been a problem with the public using his parking lot. So I went and I left a message for Sarah, and she never got back to me, but
As of the moment, it doesn't look like you'd get permission, is that?
I didn't ask for permission. I was just letting them know that there was a possibility that we might be having fireworks, and that if they didn't want their parking lot being used, that they might want to set up a barricade.
Oh, okay.
Or something.
Alright.
So, but I can get whatever. I didn't realize there was a list. I was just told to come here tonight. Paul couldn't be here and to request, and I didn't obviously get my email.
Have you spoken to the fire department at all about it either?
No.
Okay.
This has been Paul's kind of project,
Okay.
and
So you just got thrown under the bus having to come in front of us now?
you know what? We all jumped in where we're needed.
Right.
And he said he couldn't be here tonight.
Okay.
Go before the board and ask for a permit, and that's what I'm doing. So, I will get that paper. There's a reason why I have to, I got the picture for the banner, I just got that. So I have to give that to you so that you can put it in, I don't know the people's name, the old theater. I'll talk to you tomorrow. You're gonna be in tomorrow, right? Okay, I'll be in tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5, application for appointment to the remuneration committee.
Remuneration.
Okay.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get corrected by Steven 16 times a meeting. I wouldn't.
I don't know what I'd be doing here if I was doing that.
He does an hour and a half.
Who's taking this one?
Yeah, who's got the lead on this one?
Is there an actual application for us to look at?
There's two.
Well, there was two, because the second one came today, so I sent them in your email separately. I'm the philosophy that things like that don't go on the website.
They are
for the
absolutely public information.
Because they have personal information on it, I have to redact. So anyways, I send it directly to council, but we have two, and in the file that Kim has, there are two others that were in November that applied, so in theory, you have four, you need one more. So that's what I looked at.
No, hold on. Just for clarification, we have not been presented with any application that this board has actually reviewed, discussed, or appointed anyone. You can appoint each one as they come. You wouldn't say, well, thanks, it seems great, now wait for someone else to appear. We can appoint at any point. We don't have to wait. They just obviously, until the board is fully staffed, can't actually hold a meeting, because that's what our charter says, is that they have to have 5. But certainly you could appoint them to the committee, it's just the committee can't meet until the committee's full, right? But we haven't actually been presented with anybody's application before tonight.
One was in the council packet that went out on Thursday, and then one was added today because I was given it today, and I thought
No, one was not in the council packet on Thursday. That's why I emailed you on Monday morning, because there was no application for it whatsoever. That's what I was getting at.
there was the council packet, and then there was the separate item. It was a separate item. It wasn't in the packet. I
Okay.
added it as a secondary
Just for
attachment.
the record, all of our applications for a public appointed position have always been part of our packet.
Well, they were part of the packet. I don't put them on the website for the whole public to look at all their personal information. So it was part of the packet that's went to the council. So what we're putting on the website no longer has the payroll or anything that might be a contract or anything that's the public can FOIA something, but it doesn't need to be out on the World Wide Web. So that just goes directly to council in the email that I send you. So
why would we not put those records if they're public information and FOIAble anyways?
Personal identifiable
finding
So
information.
it's something we've been publishing.
Red flag rules.
On our website.
But I don't think that's, like, our agenda packets, I can't get to them from the public-facing website, right? We have a link.
You're right, yeah, it's FOIAble though, but you're right,
Yeah.
it's not, the agenda packet itself is not on Documents on Demand, you're right.
Right, it's just the minutes and the agendas. They're on DoD. So I don't know, the links that we get are, yes.
Yes.
I'm still learning some of that because I didn't even have access today when you said that that was something Lisa has done, and we're still working through getting me access to all these areas. I'm not,
Okay.
so when we were looking at it, Pam and I, it looks like that goes out to the website. You can choose it as the whole packet. So that was why I started doing in Pentwater, that's what we did for 8 years. We had documents for council and a separate one for the public. So, but as before, when I, a couple months back, I asked you guys to please speak to me if in general, not at a meeting, but if there's things that you want to see that are done differently, that I'm not doing and meeting your expectations, please do that. So,
Yeah, I think we're set up that way.
so.
That there's a part of the website that's
Yeah, we
gotta go
have
through the
to-
firewall.
We have to enter a password to get into
And then
the
there's
agenda.
and then
Yeah,
there's the public
absolutely.
side.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. I don't have a separate email from you, Randy, on Thursday with any agenda packet. The only one notice I received on Thursday of last week is the Documents on Demand for the
Okay.
website. That's the only thing I have. And so there was supposed to be a separate email that I can, that
Yes,
application.
the last couple council meetings, when she uploads it, Documents on Demand, she sends one to me, and then I've been sending out to the entire council in a format from my email. So if you didn't get it, I apologize that I did send that. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
that's what my email was about
Okay.
on Monday morning, where I was saying, these agenda items, I have no supporting documents.
Okay.
That was the one I was pointing at. So I was going, how are we supposed to appoint an applicant to a committee with no application? That's
So-
what I was specifically referring to.
In my email, what I did was have the packet, and then I put I only at that point had one application, but today Robert brought a second one, and so because it was on the agenda, I went ahead and sent that to all of you around 3:00. So is this?
That one I see.
I got so many emails today.
Right,
Trying-
that one I
okay.
have, I see that one. Well, I still don't even know who the applicant is for the first one because I don't have any information for it.
And that's
We've got
in
it
this
on Monday-
printed packet,
Monday
so.
at 10 a.m. was the first one.
I see, it's a. Okay,
Yeah.
yep,
Did you find it?
yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
So seeing as you're just seeing applications now, does it make sense to put this to the next meeting?
Yeah, because then if we could see the other, I didn't even know there was two others.
Yeah, if we could
Before.
review
At
them
least
all
we
at
can
the same
review all
time.
four.
And then potentially maybe we could have one more?
One of them is Mr. Schneider Senior,
Oh,
correct?
okay.
I don't
Is it
know.
not? Well, I'm certain of that. That's the only applicant I knew of previously. Another reason I'm not pushing that envelope.
Did we get?
Mr. President,
Yes.
didn't we discuss Bob's applicant at the last meeting?
No,
Not specifics.
No, Bob tried to guilt us into finding our own.
Yeah, get it.
He challenged us.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Great work. Now you guys gotta go do some actual work yourselves too.
Two of the applicants are people that I got to send their applications in. Apparently, there were two other ones from November, according to Randy, so we need one more. So 6 other council members should be able to come up with one more person for the remuneration committee.
For time consideration, because there's multiple applications, I would say we table
Yeah.
the, yes.
Remuneration.
Remuneration committee till the next meeting. We have consensus on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we also have them in the packets too, like one right after another?
That way we can review.
Look on all, yes.
You might even label them remuneration committee.
Everybody says it wrong. It drives Stephen crazy.
What did I say? We're gonna host a spelling bee, okay?
Agenda item number 6, appointment of the park board.
Yes, this is my agenda item. I'm asking council to select a village representative to the park board. Previously, this was Melissa Schneider, who was our official village appointee to the park board. With her resignation, we do need to select someone or appoint someone to be our village representative. Jen Simonetta, who's been patiently waiting in the back here, has been faithfully serving on the park board for almost 2 years. Something like that, yeah.
Over here now.
Without her, I can honestly say Music in the Park would not happen this year. So she has been a huge asset to the community and to Park Board. And so I'm requesting that council appoint her to Park Board as our village representative.
Any questions from council?
Same question. Do you have an application?
When she first applied, yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
She's on the park board already.
She is.
no, I know, and so, but, forgive me, was Jen appointed by the village council the first time, or was it appointed by the park board?
Appointed by the park.
So this board has never seen an application in the first
No.
place, right?
No.
Okay. I have no problem with continuing to serve, but I also feel like it would be unfair for us to continue to appoint applicants without seeing an application, which is what we've required from literally any other applicants we've ever appointed, right?
I don't know. I can't speak to that.
Is it the same application?
It's the same exact application.
Yes.
It was submitted and reviewed by Park Board when she was appointed. So I'm asking for a motion.
Sure, I'll make the motion to appoint Jen Simonetta as the village representative to the park board, continuing her ongoing service to the park board.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Feldman, supported by Councilmember Miller to appoint Jen, how do you pronounce it?
Well, I'll let her say it.
Simonetta, as the village representative to the park board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously by all members of council.
We could move her to be on the remuneration committee.
Is the test that you can just say it?
That concludes our agenda for the sitting. Is there any public comment tonight for any
Non-agenda.
non-agenda item?
It's an agenda item, but I'm going to break the rules a little bit. I just wanted to thank everybody for your vote to approve the bid for the police department. I know it's been extremely difficult. We've all got beat up over it. I've said some things. I've gotten beat up, but I appreciate your efforts, and I look forward to having Almont Police Department. So
Us too. Thank you.
Us too, thank you. We
Yeah.
think it's the best for the community.
I think it is too.
Sometimes you gotta beat each other up to get closer, right?
We're really close. So, yeah,
That's all the
been-
closest we do.
Yeah. So
Thanks, Rick.
I apologize for not being here as much as I used to be. My job takes me away often. It does make it challenging at times, but I still make an effort, to serve the community. Yesterday was challenging getting to our special meeting. I left Chicago at 4 a.m. and drove almost to Traverse City and all the way across the state and kind of slid in here on 2 wheels at 7 o'clock. But you do.
How flooded was Traverse City?
I didn't go quite to Traverse City, but I was way up the west side of the state, and then back down to Brighton and through the big storm and all that. It was fun.
Yeah.
So, but we do what we do. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any other public comment tonight? Being none, no discussion. Andrew Kerberson, do you have anything from council?
I have a few items to touch base on. I already brought up one of them that we're happy we'll be getting the DDA budget on the 22nd, so it can be part of our budget review. We were notified yesterday that Thursday morning, the parking lot will be pulverized as the beginning of the replacement of the parking lot here at the Village Hall. So pulverization first day, maybe some touch-up second day. They're breaking for the holiday, and I believe paving on Tuesday. So that's a nice forward moving on that. I just want to say that the garage sale frenzy was a frenzy in our office because of all the people that come in to get on the map, and then you have to create the map and then place it all over town. The ladies, they were very cooperative with the public, even though there was a deadline to be here. They accepted applicants days beyond the deadline, but it was very difficult that day for the staff to finish up their work, get that done, get it distributed. We all helped on it, but it was quite an effort.
The homecoming committee thanks you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You've heard me talking about DTE's issues with us and June Drive. We're still having issues. Matter of fact, the day after I mentioned it to you, the system went down. We lost a leg of power again at the junction box. Fortunately, there's a whole crew now monitoring what's going on there. They had staff out. They installed some new fuses in the unit, but the unit is completely surrounded by big rodent holes in and under it's a mess. So we got a whole crew now watching it, making sure that things are happening, but it is continuing to happen. So if anybody says anything, we haven't had any issues with the residents or our generator working to back up the system, but it is costing us because we're running our generator and those sort of things. And we've had plenty, whole days of overtime with wastewater treatment plant staff having to stand by while DTE is turning things on and off and manipulating the power there. So they're installing, they have installed some sensors, and we're hoping to get that project tied down so there isn't a consistent concern out of that area. We have had a positive response from the people that we're talking to purchase the DPW property. They have asked to modify the agreement one line, so I'm waiting for that red line, one line change, and then I will get it out for everybody to look at, and we can discuss the purchasing and the purchase agreement moving forward. We had a really interesting issue today. Brian called me, bit of a panic. He found a fire hydrant laying in the lawn, not attached to anything. So he jumps out. We ended up having the police respond right away. We had a driver leave M53, just about hit the Vintner sign, take out our fire hydrant that was right next to it, dragging it a little ways in the lawn, leaving it. You could see the tracks went out through A&W and then hid their car in Vintner's parking lot amongst the other cars. Police were on scene, found the car within the hour, identified the owner, someone in town, and they are pulling video to see if they can identify exactly who the driver was. The owner refused to give us the insurance information because obviously there'll be several $1,000s in expenses to restore everything. So just another ongoing and very effective police department was right on it, took care of it. They blocked traffic while they did the investigation. Everything went great, but I thought you should know. The hydrant will be back up and running probably by noon tomorrow because we have the equipment in stock. They're designed to break off if you actually run over one. So we have the equipment to reinstall it and it'll be back in service likely tomorrow. I can't read my own writing. I approved today, the police department has been without a radar, now they call it LiDAR unit, because it's laser driven for speed enforcement. So I approved the purchase of one of those today to replace our one that's been broken for quite a while. So that will be now in place and being used around town where needed when requested. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Is that a manual LiDAR or is that, okay, handheld?
Yep, so we can pass it around.
I have nothing to add if anybody has any questions. Welcome.
Just a few things. First, I just wanted to say I know Chief and the rest of the law enforcement community left, but I wanted to say thank you for what they've done. That is probably something that they will never forget and have to live with for the rest of their lives. And it's not something that you want to have to do, for sure. Happy birthday, Mindy.
Thank you. I don't know if I got my birthday wish.
Do we have a start date for the St. Clair project? It's still kind of...
I checked with the engineer and they're still on schedule for the schedule they provided us a few weeks ago. I think that is bidding early June. It just hits the,
Yep.
and that's like 30 days, something like that.
I know the last time you talked about having a survey done of our friendly neighborhood parking lot downtown. Any new update on how that's going? I know there's some really nice new, potentially stolen road construction cones with signs on them there today, so.
Yes. We employed a surveyor to survey the area. They did all their homework. It was scheduled to be flag pinned the day before the big parking lot event that occurred through Good Grounds, which was a week ago. And I went to check and the flags weren't there. So I contacted the surveyor and said, hey, what's going on? Did somebody take your flags? There's no evidence that you staked it. And he didn't respond. So I sent him a follow-up today saying, hey, can I get an update? What's going on? So I know he had to do some additional groundwork to look in records for the actual layout of the property, the measurements. But he told me he was planning to come and stake it, and that it hasn't been staked. So I'm going to say 2/3 or more of the way through the process.
Who's our surveyor?
Corey from downtown Lapeer, but I can't think of his name in the Davis Land Survey. And I got prices, Angela got prices too. They were the least expensive to do the project.
And then the last thing, I know that seemed to be going well with the dangerous buildings, the 2 dangerous buildings. Is still moving forward fine, or are we?
Well, and I know that the DDA met with people on site today over the ability to separate the buildings. As far as the other building, the property owner informed me that he was getting bids to demo it, to take it down. It's been a week since I talked to him, but I have not had contact with him again.
That's St. Clair.
Yeah.
A building on St. Clair.
No, it's on Black Court. It's in Pete's backyard.
Backyard, but yeah, I see it.
So we're talking the Legion Hall and this barn.
Lock shop, right?
Yeah.
Same owner. Yep. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
That was going to be one of my questions too, is that you had mentioned previously that the lock shop owner had no issues with the demo of the building. Is there anything in writing? Do we have any sort of agreement? So we're just supposed to demo his building and hope later he doesn't say, hey, why'd you demo my building?
No, not at this point. He has to get the roof repaired.
Mm-hmm.
So as we move forward, if he doesn't do his side of the story, we will have to take a decision of whether we want to attempt to repair his property, demo his property. So we had a positive conversation that I thought would lead to some activity. If it doesn't, then we'll escalate our enforcement of his dangerous building.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm misunderstanding. I thought at the last council meeting, you indicated that you spoke to him and he was in agreement with the demolition.
Yes, he
And
was.
he has since changed his mind to maybe he repairs, maybe.
No, he was not in opposition or didn't have an issue with us demoing the Legion or the DDA demoing the Legion.
He doesn't have a problem with us demoing our own property. That's
Well,
what about his building?
But would expose his building
Uh-huh.
and he wasn't concerned about that. His effort was going to be to fix his collapsed roof, and if there needed to be work done after that, we would have to make sure his property is not exposed to the elements, but that's all part of the process of the demo anyway.
The giant hole in his roof makes his property already exposed to the elements.
Yes, pointless, but yes, right.
Okay, all right. So I just appreciate the clarification because I misunderstood when you said it at our last council meeting. I thought that he didn't have an issue with the demolition of his building as well, considering the state that it's in. But you were just saying he doesn't have a problem with us demoing our own property.
That's attached.
Connected to his illegally, yes, okay.
And to that end, he is very interested in keeping his building in place. So I fully believe that he will get to work on repairing it. But again, if he doesn't, we'll have to move that forward at that time.
That's what the International Property Maintenance Code is for. Okay. Then the possibly next agenda, if it's not too stacked, with the park cameras policy came back from the attorneys after their review, so it needs to come back before council. I know I've seen a copy of it. Let me rephrase that. I know the email has been sent and I've still not had the time to open it yet even, but I mean, all of council needs to review it anyways. I mean, even if I get to read it before you guys, we all need to address it at this point.
That'd be an open discussion, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, council's already reviewed and discussed and then we sent to, I'm not saying to vote on it, just say it needs to come back before council.
Yes, we can see
I
it.
know that we've already all reviewed it and we were okay, and then we sent it for legal, and legal does have some comments and some modifications to it. So Bodman firm did great work, I'm sure, and so we all need to take a look at it again. I just know it's been hanging out there for a while, so that needed to get back in front of us. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yep, just a quick update from the park board. We met last week with Randy's help to put together a draft budget. So I anticipate we'll be talking about it at our budget workshop. We still are including just a proposal to bring on someone part-time as a park manager. So you'll expect to see numbers on that for your review and discussion. That's it.
Councilmember Powell.
All set.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes. First of all, I know it's been said already, but I want to thank the committee for all the hard work on the police contract and navigating through all of the misrepresentation of information by the township board, navigating through all that and coming to a resolution. Thank you. Happy birthday, Mindy.
Oh, thanks.
I guess it's your birthday. And again, I would hope that someone on the council would know of a person that could volunteer for the remuneration committee, since we have four and supposedly only need one more. So, thank you.
I've only got two things. I want council to give serious thought and for the time investment to join the township in the grant writing experiment that they're trying to collaborate with us on. I think A, would be positive, and B, it would be good for both council and township relationships. So I ask every council member to try to find time and find one of us to volunteer for that.
And just for clarification on that as well, about an hour before our meeting, Trustee Chris emailed me and he gave, and I'd be happy to send this to the rest of the council as well so they can see it, but he provided an email with background on the training he plans to enroll in, which is offered June 1st through the 2nd or June 30th through July 1st. It's a 2-day Zoom seminar, but as quoting Trustee Chris, he said, a 2-day Zoom seminar is painful, but driving to Detroit, parking and driving home is even worse. So it would be a Zoom seminar for the training for the grant writing. I'd be happy to send it out to everybody. Like I said, I think I actually noticed it and I sat down on my laptop when I was here. So that's what we would be essentially agreeing to, is to sign up for that seminar training and to try to work collaboratively before next budget season with the township and looking for grants because there's apparently a lot out there.
And secondly, during the downtown cleanup, it became aware that there's a couple of issues with roots, that the bricks in front of the building are dangerous. And I think the director has brought that to the attention, but I wanted to also, in the back step, so if we could have take any steps with our enforcement officer to make sure that those are up to code and safe, I would appreciate it.
That's to the building owner.
Yes.
Because not.
Not to the business.
Yeah, the
Right,
business
right.
just leases that space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for the clarification. And with that, we are adjourned.
I remember one of them going to bring up that.